Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is Nikki here. So today I am going to do a video on M.A.C foundations. I'm going to do a video on my guide to M.A.C foundations. I have 10 foundations lined up. I feel like I do have quite a bit of knowledge on the foundations, and I've tried and tested mostly all of them, I would say. So I thought it would be a good video for me to do on what I think of them, what color I am in them, what skin type they're best for, what cover they are, and all that jazz. So without further ado, let's just get on to the video. So I'm going to start off with, I believe, M.A.C's best-selling foundation, and that is Studio Fix Fluid. Whenever you talk to someone about M.A.C Cosmetics or what M.A.C foundation they use, it is most likely Studio Fix Fluid. Personally, I don't like this foundation whatsoever, but it seems to be the best selling. I feel like it is the best selling because we have so many colors in it. There's literally so many colors. I feel like it's the biggest range out of all of the foundations. I happen to be around an NC 42, 43, 43.5. I fall around there. The only reason that I don't like it is because I feel like the NCs are quite yellow. So with M.A.C foundations, the majority of the foundations are going to be in NC or NW. NW has got a pink undertone and NC is more of a yellowy olivey undertone, which is what I am. But the NCs in the Studio Fix just happen to be way too yellow, and I feel like I sit in between a yellow tone and a pink tone. Now, Studio Fix is great if you have an oilier skin type because it is a matte finish. It absorbs all of that oil and it is pure matte on the skin, and it's also 8 hours of wear. So if you find that you've got an oilier skin type and your makeup might be slipping and sliding a little bit, it's a bit like cement. It's gonna stick, and it's gonna stick with you. Now, another thing about the Studio Fix Fluid is that it is medium to buildable coverage. So for all of you girls that love more of a flawless finish or more of a full finish, then Studio Fix will be your best friend. So that brings me on to the Studio Fix powders. Now, the Studio Fix powders are really good sellers. The reason why I put them in foundations is you can actually use them just as a foundation. A lot of people come in asking for like a cream to powder foundation, or they feel like the Fix is a cream to powder. It's not. It is a complete powder. I fall between the colors NC 40 more so for a highlight, and then NC 43.5 just as a general skin tone. Now, like the fluid, these come in a broad spectrum of colors again. I personally feel like, and let me know down below if you feel like this, the colors tend to be a lot lighter in the packaging, and then when they go on a lot darker. So I feel like they can be a little bit deceiving, and they do oxidize. Again, they are perfect if you've got an oily skin type because they're going to get rid of any shine. They're going to make the skin surface completely matte, and it's also, I would say it is also a good setting powder if you're just lightly dusting it all over. Now, the Studio Fix powders do come with a sponge applicator, which is located underneath. I would always recommend not to use a sponge. I don't know why they put a sponge in it. I wouldn't put it on with a sponge. I feel like it just packs on way too much product, and that's when you start to get like cakey foundation, especially if you're putting it over a liquid as well. I would always use this product with a brush. The reason being is the sponge is going to absorb the natural oils that you've already got in your skin. Everyone's got natural oils, and it will absorb into the sponge. Then when you over time keep putting the sponge onto the powder, I don't know if you guys have ever had it, but have you ever had to scratch the surface of your powder because it's created like an oil slick over the whole powder? It's because the oil has settled in and it's kind of coagulated, I don't know if that's a word, but like congealed with the powder, and it's created a hard surface, which then in turn doesn't allow you to get any pigment on your brush or your sponge. So what you need to do is you need to scratch away at that surface to release the powder underneath. But what the oil also does over time is it makes the powder darker. So it's going to mean that your powder is going to get a little bit darker. So I just would avoid using a sponge overall. Then next I have the M.A.C Prolongwear Foundation. This happens to be a lot of people's favorites. I absolutely do love the Prolongwear. It has a 15-hour wear claim on it, which is Literally, I would say it's true. It's literally like cement. It's kind of like the prolongwear concealer. Once you put it on, it is transfer resistant. It doesn't come off. I believe it is a natural matte is what it's stated, but I see it more as like a satin. I feel like it's more of a satin. It is medium to buildable coverage. Really nice smooth application when it goes on. The only downside to the prolongwear is the shade range is so funny. So I don't believe that they have that many shades in it, and all the shades that they do are either very yellow or very pale yellow or extremely red undertoned, and they jump really quickly. So there isn't like a shade in between. I guess if you just fit the bill, you do, or if you don't, then you're taken over to somewhere else where you do fit the bill. Just because the prolongwear, I don't know what they're doing about the shades, but they need to extend the shade selection. Although it is really an amazing foundation, the cover is absolutely insane. I also happen to be an NC44 in the prolongwear. I would say it is a tad on the yellower side. I don't know what it is. I kind of don't like things on my skin that are very, very, very yellow. It's not very, very, very yellow, but it tends to be a little bit more on the yellowy side than what I'd like. But if I mix it with a little bit of face and body, then it's beautiful. That then does bring me on to my beloved face and body. You guys know for time that I've loved face and body. I have been a true fan of face and body, and if they discontinued face and body, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know how many times I've just said face and body, but if they discontinued it, I don't know what I'd do. I literally love this. This is a water-based foundation, and as the name states, you can use it on your face or you can use it on your body. It is a sheer coverage to buildable, and it is a very satin dewy finish. If you guys have ever used it, you might either love it or hate it. I feel like it's a bit like that. You either feel like it's gonna do something for your skin, or you feel like it's not done anything whatsoever. I feel like this product is really good on like a model-like skin, or just to get like a really nice finish, like if you're doing a photo shoot, just really perfected skin, I feel. So a couple of things about this foundation is that it is heavily moisturizing, so it's gonna be really good if you've got a drier skin type. It says on the website that you can use it with all skin types. Probably wouldn't recommend it for an oilier skin. I would recommend something similar but a different foundation, which is a Waterweight. That would be better because it's got oil control in it. But this one I wouldn't recommend for an oilier skin. It's just a really stunning one. You can build it up. A nifty trick is if you leave the cap off and then you leave it near a radiator, or you just leave it overnight, because it is water-based, the water will evaporate and you'll get a thicker consistency in the morning. Therefore, it will be a little bit more pigmented and a little bit more cover. So try that out, and you can use that if you like face and body but you feel like it's not giving you the coverage. The shades that I am in face and body is C5 during like the winter, and then a C6 during more of the summer times. I tend to mix them on a daily, so I'll put the C5 in the center of my face and then the C6 on the outskirts and then down my chest area. Just seeing as I am very fair near this sort of area, I'll put the C6 down. I forgot to add that this foundation is also water resistant. So I forgot to add that this foundation is also water resistant. Do I believe that? Not so much. It's not, I know it's definitely not transfer resistant, because when I'm talking on the phone, it transfers onto my phone. So I know that much about it. I don't believe that it is water resistant, if I'm honest with you. Then comes my favorite foundation. It's my new fave, and it is the MAC Next to Nothing Face Color. It's literally just come out this week, and it is, I think it's absolutely incredible. It is literally like a tint, so it's like a balm. I would say it's less than a tinted moisturizer, probably like on the same level as face and body, but it is literally like a tint. So in this foundation, it doesn't actually come in an NC or an NW. It will just come from like an extra light all the way up to like a dark deep, I believe. And I fit between medium deep and dark. So I like to put medium deep in the center of my face and then dark around. Now in the summertime, when I get a little bit tan, I will just be using dark. I feel like this foundation is perfect. So if you're of a very fair skin type, but you want to appear tan but you don't want to use fake tan, then this is like perfect. It's like face and body. You can put it all over and it looks like a natural tan as opposed to a foundation that is too dark for your skin, if that makes sense. If you just kind of rub it in with either your hands or like a beauty blender, dab it on, then literally you're good to go and you're gonna look pretty tan. So this foundation is fairly moisturizing, so it's going to be really good for a drier skin type. You don't have to have a drier skin type to use it, and the best way that I found to use it is either on its own with a beauty blender, or I really like it. Desi mentioned in one of her snaps to put it over the Armani Luminous Silk, and I absolutely love that. So if I put my Armani Luminous Silk on with a brush and kind of just buff it in, and then use these two just on top with a beauty blender. Actually, I've got it on today. That's what I've got on today, the Armani, and then this over the top, just dabbed on top with a beauty blender. It gives you just a really nice airbrushed, flawless, dewy finish. Then I'm going to be talking to you guys about the MAC Matchmaster Foundation. This foundation has SPF 15 in, and it is a demi matte finish. This one is great for an oilier skin type because it is matte, and I feel like the colors personally range very olivey. So if you do have a very olivey yellow undertone, I feel like Matchmaster might be your go-to because they're not as yellow as Studio Fix, but it's the same sort of finish. It's the same sort of coverage. It is a medium to buildable coverage. I feel like you can get quite a high coverage out of Matchmaster as well. Now Matchmaster works, I don't know all the specific terms, but it has this intelligence something technology. I'm not too sure, but I'll leave it here. And it works like the fluid, or what it has in it is got like transparent bubbles. Now when you put this fluid onto your face with either a brush or whatever you blend it with, these transparent bubbles burst, so it allows your natural skin to show through. I hope I'm telling you guys this correctly, but this is what I've learned. It allows your natural skin to show through. Therefore it's perfect for people that may be going on holiday or getting a bit of a tan. You can still use the same foundation and it sort of just adapts. That's what I love about this foundation. It works really nice on a darker skin. More so I find than a fairer skin. It's just the color range is beautiful for a very like sort of Asian skin tone, I would say, and a dark skin tone. This foundation also doesn't come in NCs or NWs, so they do have a smaller shade selection, and I fit perfectly kind of in a 5, between a 5 and a 6, but I only have a 5 and it does me perfectly fine just because it does adapt. But if I wanted to, I'd probably get the 6 as well and mix them together. I always like to mix foundations. I don't feel like, unless you're really lucky, that you fit into one foundation and that one foundation is like your match, like your perfect match. Just because I feel like, it's not even I feel like a lot of people have pigmentation, or they're a lot darker around the outskirts and then brighter in the center, especially with a darker skin tone. So then I'm gonna move on to another favorite. It is Studio Sculpt. It's not a personal favorite of mine, but I feel like a lot of people love Studio Sculpt. It is like a gel typed mousse-like formula. We don't do anything like it. All the other ones are very liquidy, or a powder, or like a cream. We don't do anything that's kind of moussey. This one, I am in the shade NC42. I'm between a 42 and a 45, so I tend to mix them two shades together. This foundation is very, very hydrating. So if you've got a drier skin or more of a mature skin, it's gonna be perfect. And I feel like it is one of the foundations that we do which is very good cover, so you're going to get a very flawless cover with this as well. This foundation also claims that it is water resistant. Whether it is or not, I'm not too sure because I don't wear it too often. I feel like when I did use this, it was very nice on a fairer skin tone. They've got a really nice shade selection for a fairer skin tone, where a lot of people can fit into their shade selection, I feel, if that makes sense. I feel like for a darker skin tone, it was gradual and then it just jumped to like a very, very dark skin tone. So I'm not too sure if MAC's going to come out with more of a shade selection, but it is a really, really good foundation to try out nonetheless. Then I have a couple of foundations that I don't actually own. The reason why I don't own them is because I specifically just can't find my shade in them, and it would probably include me mixing 2 or 3 shades together, and it's just not worth the hassle. So I'm going to be talking about the Mineralize Moisture Foundation. The Mineralize Moisture Foundation is literally bomb. It is so, so beautiful, but I feel like personally is beautiful on a Caucasian skin tone. So someone that's an NW20, NW25 or an NC30, NC35, someone that is a little bit fairer. Around that shade selection, the colors are beautiful, they are spot on. This foundation is very hydrating and it is a satin dewy finish in my personal opinion. I feel like you need to either use the mineralized skin finish or the Studio Fix powder over the top just to make it a little bit more matte. So it includes ingredients such as shea butter and vitamin E, and I would personally say that it is extremely hydrating. I just unfortunately can't find a shade. Like NC42 seems to be a bit too light, NC45 is a bit too red undertoned for me, so it just personally didn't work out for me. Nonetheless, it is a beautiful foundation. Then MAC also have the Prolongwear Waterproof. Prolongwear Waterproof happens to be so many people's favorites. I feel like it is because it literally just sticks on. So it's got the key claim that it is a 24-hour wear. Whether anyone wears their foundation for 24 hours, I am yet to know, because I don't feel like anyone does. But I have used this foundation. I don't personally own it, but I've worn it to the gym and I've sweated and I've done a training session in it for an hour and a half and literally didn't budge. So I do believe that it is water resistant through and through. So this foundation is a natural satin finish. It is also a medium to buildable coverage, I would say. I don't know what it is about the feel of it. I feel like it's like a gel sort of liquid, and it literally just goes onto the skin so smoothly. It is really, really nice. It's a really nice foundation. They don't have that big a shade selection, and the shades that they do have, they run a lot lighter. So an NC45 is like an NC42. So I'm like mixing shades to be what I am, and then the next one jumps up and it's way too dark, which is just a little bit annoying for me personally. So this foundation is also oil free, which means that it repels moisture. So it's great for you girls that have more of an oilier skin type, or like are oily in the T-zone, or you want a satin finish but you don't want to go too glossy because you do have an oilier skin type. So last but not least, I am going to talk about the Studio Waterweight. Studio Waterweight is the last and newest foundation that MAC brought out. I absolutely really liked it when I first tried it, and I really liked how it was very much like face and body. So if you have an oilier skin type and you want to use face and body, but you don't want the dewiness of face and body or like the oiliness of face and body, then Studio Waterweight is perfect because it's oil free and it is, I would say, it's a satin finish. I just personally don't own it because I can't find my shade in it. I feel like the shades run darker in this one, and I feel like they're a lot more red undertoned. So it is really weird because you would assume that if you're an NC42 in Prolongwear, then you'd be an NC42 in Studio Fix, and you'd be an NC42 in Waterweight. It doesn't actually work like that because they're different formulas and they're created differently. The undertones of them are always going to be slightly different, so I would always recommend to try them out on counter and check them in daylight because they're always going to be a little bit different. So the Waterweight is like a fluid serum type dropper application foundation. If you try it on the back of your hand, it's really nice and watery, and it is a medium to buildable coverage. It's going to add a lot of hydration to the skin whilst being oil free. So I guess it is really good for all of my girls that have an oilier skin type. Again, you don't have to be an oilier skin type to use it. So guys, that was my guide to the MAC foundations. I didn't cover all of them, but I think I covered most of them. I'm gonna leave like my shades in what I am in the foundations down below, just so you guys have it for reference. I hope this guide was useful. I hope you guys learned something new. If you like videos like this where I'm just sitting and chatting to you guys about anything really, then let me know down below. Give this video a big thumbs up if you do like it. Also, if you're new to my channel, then hit the subscribe button, which is down below, and welcome to the family. And until next time, I love you guys so very much. I'll see you in my next video. Mwah.